Awesome. Here we are. Thank y'all so much for joining in. Thank you for coming on. We started a little early. Sorry, we're just letting people come in as we get started to hear from you today. Happy Friday, everybody. Today is September the 10th. This is Empower Hour Live. We have an amazing guest today. We have Diamond Dallas Page, and we have Paige McMahon. That's right? Paige McMahon. I said that right. Can you? And
no
love the haircut. No relation. Or Ed McMahon. Oh, Ed, LA's coming in. LA wants to say something real quick, everybody.
Yes, I can't even really talk. I wanted to be on with you guys, but I lost my voice. Yeah, so it's horrible.
Hope you feel better.
I hope you feel better, buddy.
So glad to have you guys on, though.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
First of all, I want to say thank you to those who noticed my haircut. That is very nice of you all. Thank you. LA does send his regards. He lost his voice this morning. He wanted to be here. We were so excited to both be able to interview you and talk to you and get empowered by you both. We're just going to let some people log on to get the attendance up. And I'm going to banter back and forth with some folks. So thank y'all both for being here, taking time out of your schedule. We really appreciate that. How is everybody doing? Oh, here comes LA again. Good morning. Tell A to stop. Oh, sorry. LA is telling me what now? How? Sorry, he's talking to me. Did I see his little finger come by?
Oh, sorry.
You don't have to whisper. All right. Look, you're throwing me off, man. Okay. So LA wanted me to spotlight y'all, so only y'all can be seen the whole time. He's like, nobody cares to see you. They only want to see them. So they see me every week on this. Good morning. Gene. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Anybody got any plans? I know we just had a busy weekend this last weekend. On Monday, I slept for I took 6 naps on Monday. For some reason, I got so tired. But I want to know, anybody got any plans for this weekend? What's going down? Halloween decorating and planning for the contest. Good. I wrote down in my notes today, Gene, I was like, oh, we got to get on for this. Dare, thank you. Dare said that she loves you all. Thank y'all for joining. She said y'all are amazing. Yes, it's on, Gene. I can't wait to see what you can do, what you're going to do. Alrighty. I want to get started. I know we are in for an amazing treat today. We have Dallas Page on. We have Paige McMahon on. You guys are part of DDP Yoga. And we're here today to get some empowerment about your path to yoga. Both of you are going to talk about how yoga saved your life. So we're going to get started, everybody, and people will log on. Thank you again, both. Thank you both for joining. The first thing is, if you have any questions for DDP and Paige, please feel free to chat them up. I will put it to them, give it to them. If you put to everybody, not host to panelists, everybody can see your question. So type your questions as we go along. But now we're going to turn it over. So first things first, who are y'all? Tell us who you are.
I'm gonna let Paige introduce herself first because I tend to ramble, and I want to give them a little bit of your story, baby.
So my name is Paige McMahon, and I have been a yoga instructor for 14 years. But during that time, I was an adventure athlete, climbing mountains all over the world, running ultra marathons, writing for National Geographic and a bunch of other publications. Prior to that, I had worked on Wall Street. So I used to negotiate global contracts with investment banks and left shortly after I turned 31, 32. My mom had died, and I found her unfinished bucket list. And I had this epiphany, like, I have to finish this list and spread her ashes to all the places she didn't get to go to.
And what was the list?
The bucket list.
I know, but what was the list?
Oh, so the list included like the 7 wonders of the world.
To see the 7 wonders of the world. Don't just throw that out there. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like to finish your mom's bucket list, to see the 7 wonders of the world, climb what mountains?
Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Fuji, like all these things. And so when I had this epiphany and I was like, okay, I have to do it and spread her ashes. So to the places she didn't get to go to, I had to figure out how to do that because I didn't grow up hiking. I grew up outside Philadelphia. You know, we don't really have mountains there. And so, yeah, so I went up training. I lost like 30 pounds. I took up yoga and found out it would help me because I had actually broken my back the first time when I was 16 in a car accident. And so it really helped me get my body prepared to be able to do these things. And so I started on my journey and
so like she said, 100-mile races. Like that's
yeah.
at one time.
Yeah, my
Wow.
mom's thing in life is if you want to own something, you have to earn it. And so every place I went to, I had to earn that experience. So when I went to Machu Picchu, one of the 7 wonders of the world in Peru, I backpacked the Inca Trail. When I wanted to go to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, another one of the 7 wonders, I cycled across Southeast Asia from Bangkok, Thailand, through Cambodia and into Vietnam. And along my journey, I ran into Dallas in the TSA line at the Nashville airport of all things. And his Arthur video had just come out, this huge transformation with this military veteran. And I'd recognized him and I went up to him and I knew we had a mutual friend. And I said, hey, you're Ira's friend. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, your name's Paige. And he said, yes. And I said, my name's Paige too. And I said, I want to thank you because I wasn't a wrestling fan. I knew he'd wrestle, but I said, I just want to thank you for bringing people to yoga who would not normally come to yoga, taking a class from someone like me, who was, you know, tall, white girl, whatever. We have a beat up older wrestler with tattoos. And, you know, what he has done with yoga is incredible because he's made it's foundations yoga, but it's also rehabilitation techniques, old school calisthenics, dynamic resistance, and it's much better in many ways. And so, you know, he and I stayed friends. And in 2018, I wound up breaking my back again for the 2nd time. And so I've broken it in 6 places total. Wow. And so I've had a body cast, I've had, you know, body braces, and I've had to learn how to walk again twice. And so the 2nd time I broke it, I wound up, you know, going back to what I remembered learning from Dallas years ago with DDP yoga and starting out in bed and going to the chair. And
when we say starting in bed, she means the workout.
Yeah, the workout.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were not together then. We got back together a couple of years ago. So anyway, it was a really good thing I went back to help me rehab my body again. Because not only did I you know, break my back, I also shattered my left leg and arm. I fell out of a tree.
She shattered her left leg and arm. So because she just blows through that like it's not.
Wow.
If you're back in, you know, 3 more places, break your arm and break your leg and no one's there. She fell 15 feet out of a tree. She was cutting a branch. This is God's work here. She's cutting a branch with a chainsaw 15 feet in the air.
Not one of my smartest ideas.
And when it broke, it snapped back and hit her. And she fell 15 feet down on hard clay that was like hitting the cement and broke that part of her body.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So no, and again, with having climbed mountains all over the world and running ultra marathons, I beat my body up. You know, I had a mountain climbing accident a few years ago where I severed 3 of 4 rotator cuff tendons when I fell 300 feet rolling and tumbling on ice, and
caught herself right before she's about to fall off a 100-foot cliff. She forgets that stuff. You're like, that's the dramatic part right before, and that's what ripped her shoulder. So this woman has been really beat up, and for you to be able to see the stuff she can do today is mind-boggling.
I'm sorry, I just feel like I need a second to just take this all in, because talk about dynamic. I mean, wow. You completely, like, you were like, I was on Wall Street, which is like taking no shit from nobody. And now you're like taking no shit from the planet, you know, you're like, I'm doing this, I'm going. I have to ask a question real quick. Did you see all 7 wonders?
Yes. And that's actually how we went back together. Because I told him about my list when we were meeting, when we met, you know, a long time ago in 2012, 2013. And I even showed him, ESPN had featured me on this Journeys and Victories piece. And so at that time the video come out, and so he remembered that, and he saw a video of me a couple years ago coming up across Facebook or one of the social media things, and I said, here I am on spraying my mom's ashes on the last of the Seven Wonders of the World. Here I am on the Great Wall of China, and he was like, I guess you could tell him what you thought.
People, when you see that, and it was very, today's a happy day or a sad day, it's both, because I'm happy I'm finishing this, but I'm sad because it's the end of my mom's journey, and now I'm spreading her ashes on the Great Wall of China. And all I could think about was like, wow, how many people really do what they say they're going to do? We all think we do, but most of us don't. Like even like to the fact that I'll pick up milk on the way home, and you forgot that. When someone like if I tell you I'm going to do something, you can like bet on it, like it's done. And that's who I am. And that's the life I've lived. Now, I wasn't always like that, but I decided that's who I was going to be. And that's who I became. And when I saw that, and Paige and I hadn't talked in over 6 years at that point, and I was just so proud of her, I just picked up the phone and just said, hey, so proud of you. Like, she saved the message. We listened to it the other night. And then she called me back and we talked. And at some point, we were both at the end of our relationships, but we didn't just want to go and see each other. We wanted to like really get to know each other. So for 3 months, we talked and text and really like asking the questions that everyone's afraid to ask. Because whenever you get with someone in the beginning, everybody is perfect. Everybody's putting their best foot forward. And that's you, but it's not you all the time. It's not who you are, even maybe partial time. Most people are afraid to be themselves. We both came at this time seeing each other that we were going to be raw and real. And at some point we could really tell, like, okay, we really like each other, like, and not based on sex, based on really getting to know each other. And she had texted me one thing I thought was really powerful. And it was, finding one's true love is finding someone who speaks your language, so you don't spend an eternity translating your soul. And that's what I knew was happening. We have learned to speak each other's language. And we've been together now for coming up on 2 years. We never fight. We discuss, but it's not like if I start getting too loud, where are you getting so loud at? I didn't do anything. It'll be like, it brings me down. And that's the relationships that I've found that last and grow are the people who know how to talk to each other. Because most times when people are arguing, they're both yelling and screaming and talking, and no one's hearing anything.
Right.
And I've been through those relationships, and I'm as big a fall as anybody. But I realized that now at 65, I realized this when I was 63, that how many more great years do I have left? I'm not gonna combat you. I'm not going to debate every day. I want to grow together. Yeah. And then when she said the whole thing about speaking each other's language, I was like, wow, that's powerful. And as we got to go, we both like she was running 100-mile races. It's one of the reasons why I stopped seeing her earlier, because I thought she's a warrior. Like, I don't do any of that, Don't do that. I'm not running 5.
I never asked him to, just for the record. I've traveled all over the world by myself most of the time. So.
Yeah, but for me personally, I saw like way too active. But then coming back, I realized we had so many things in common. And so back to
all I wanted to say was, one of the things I think is interesting, I didn't understand at the time when he broke up with me, like, back in 2013, and that's fine. Was that I didn't realize Diamond Dallas Page was intimidated by me. He was not only intimidated by the 18-year age difference, but he was intimidated by the things I was doing. And he's like, I'm not gonna be able to keep up with her, and eventually she'll leave me for somebody else. Like, someone who is so confident and secure in himself, that was something that intimidate him. And I think people don't realize that we all have insecurities and things that we worry about. And sometimes we make our decisions based off of fear instead of faith. And I think that's a really big lesson learned for both of us.
Not to interject here, but I had a moment earlier this week where I had hit a low day. I had a low day and I'm owning it today. And I was like, the best word to describe it, I was pissy, right? Like I was in an attitude and everything was pissing me off. And I was like, but I had, you know, that was it. The communication was off for me because I wasn't able to really say what I needed to say, and hearing y'all say this and hearing, you know, it's like putting me, I'm like, oh my God, y'all are living our 4 core. Y'all live our 4 core, which is show the way, unify through collaboration, own unique, and struggle well. Like this is what we live by here at EPM, and already you have, and like we've been on this call for 15 minutes together and you have already shown how you do all 4 of these. So thank y'all again. And I want to keep going forward, but thank y'all. I am already blown away. Like Paige, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. Like that is beautiful. And I think that's really beautiful that you admit your vulnerability of saying like DDP is, you know, I'm intimidated by you and the things that you do and how we get together. It's beautiful. So I'm going to move us along a little bit, but you had said something, Dallas, about starting later in life with your pro wrestling and then going to yoga. And so I want to start there with like, you didn't start pro wrestling until you were 35, correct?
Yeah, and I want you to do me a favor, put you up in the top right-hand corner. If you want to put us on a big screen like you have, that's cool, but I want to see you. I don't want to see us in double digit there. So I didn't start.
Does that work better?
Yeah, that's fine, as long as, you know, whatever, however it works for you, I get to see you. So bottom line is, so many people think I'm too old. I can't do that. You know, I'll never lose the weight. Oh God, I can't be that person. There's a couple of quotes that I'll hit during this. And one of my favorite quotes is, if you say you can, or you say you can't, you're right. And then I tell people, I said, Henry Ford said that, but what the hell did he ever do? You know, I mean, if you're going to say I can't do it, and yet, and I don't care if you ever do it or not, but if you say I can't do it yet, that 3-letter word just opens up a world of possibilities. And for me, I tried wrestling when I was 23. It didn't work out for me. I had 3 matches. I hurt my knee, and the doc told me take off a month and then you can go back. And over that month, I got a chance to run a little nightclub, little rock and roll joint. And I had so much fun with the booze, the broads, and the party. I forgot about the wrestling goal of mine at 23. I wrestled in 1979. Now it's 1980, 81, 82. I'm forgotten all about going back until wrestling blew up in the 80s. And I was so pissed that I didn't put the work in, that I didn't pay my dues, that I stopped watching wrestling until one day I was flicking the channels in 1986. Now it's been 7 years, and I'm running a huge club. You know, there's 1,000 people in the place. It's jam. There's 7 bars. There's 15 bartenders. The DJ. The place is jumping, and I go from the club into my office, and I go to grab something that's on my desk, and there's monitors there, and I see this guy in the monitor, and he's huge. I'm like, who the heck? Oh my God. And I just took off running because I had started watching wrestling again because I saw Jake the Snake Roberts. It wasn't 6 months later, I come running around the outside of the club, and I run in the front door. I go, Judy, did a guy walk in here look like Jake the Snake Roberts? She's like, God, everybody thinks it's him. And I ran in that club like the biggest fan in the world, fanboy. And when I saw him, I slowed down, you know, got cool. And I worked my way over to him, and I was like, hey, man, you Jake the Snake Roberts? Who wants to know? And the guy who runs this place, he goes, yes, what can I do for you? What are we drinking? And we just, you know, had a hell of a time. And I just started having wrestlers come into my club. Now, if you wrestled in Tampa or Miami, that's 300 miles. And that would be the Tampa to Miami, Miami to Tampa. Fort Myers is right in the middle. So I started having all these wrestlers come through because I didn't charge them. I was a fan. And at some point, it just clicked in me, you know, I'm too old to be a wrestler. I was 31 at the time. I said, but you know what? Maybe I could be a manager. So I created this persona, this over the top wrestling manager who talked for the guys. And again, this is just a whim in my head. That's where dreams start. They start in your head, but until you make them a goal, they're just a dream. A goal puts them on the way to make it a reality. And if I knew the odds were 1,000,000,000 to 1, I probably wouldn't have come up with this character and these wrestlers and put this video stuff together. I probably never would have done it, but I didn't know. And that's where ignorance is bliss. I sent this video to the AWA, which was the middle of the country, the heartland of Wisconsin and Detroit, and Chicago, Illinois. That's where they were really huge. And they saw my tape. And next thing you know, I'm on ESPN at 12 o'clock at night, not making any money, but I'm on TV as managing these wrestlers. And I would do that for next to no money. And I worked Florida Championship Wrestling, where I developed a relationship with Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. He became my mentor and my brother, and sometimes my dad. And for the first 3.5 years, it cost me money to be Diamond Dallas Page. And then he went back to the Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling, and he brought me in as a manager and a color commentator. And 7 months in, between the hair that looked like this guy right here and the bling and the diamond dolls, they decided that I was taking too much attention away from the actual wrestlers. And at that point, they were just going to let me go. But I had 7 months left of my contract. So if I don't do anything, dream's over. But I had 7 months left of my contract. I was 35.5 years old. And I decided I was going to become a wrestler. I literally had people fall down laughing in my face. You're going to what? By the time you figure it out, because wrestling is like ballet to a certain degree, really physical ballet. And we beat the hell out of each other, but we're not trying to hurt each other, but we get hurt all the time. You can't fake gravity. So you just can't get on the floor and do ballet. Like, you've got to learn, you've got to practice, you got to put reps in. Same thing in wrestling. You got to put a lot of work in to understand how to tell a story live. Bottom line, it took me till I was 40. And when I turned 40 in 1996, my career started to take off. By the time 1997 came around, I was on top of the world. And literally over 97 and 98, either headlined the main event or the semi-main event, 13 out of 24 main event pay-per-views. I was living a dream on the highest level possible, and then I blew my back out. And what I did is I ruptured my L4 and L5. And to understand what that means, God gave us this incredible vertebrae. We can bend over and twist and turn. Well, in between those vertebrae are magic discs. Think of them as shock absorbers. Well, there's so many times you can bump and jump and fall and bump and jump and fall and bump and jump and fall, and they're going to get worn out. And when they finally explode, it would be like you stepping on a jelly donut. And now there's nothing but now bone on bone. And I had 3 spine specialists tell me, you know, you're going to be okay, but you're never wrestling again. Like, the impact on your body will never be able to take it. You will be crippled before you're 50 if you go out and you try to do this. And at that point, I had just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal. And the way our contracts are constructed, you don't get back in the ring in 90 days, they can eliminate you. Now, someone like me, because I was at the top of the heap, they were going to give me a little bit of time, probably closer to, 6, 7, 8 months. But I knew if I didn't get in that ring, it was over. It was never going to be a 3-year deal. And the money was important, but it wasn't my focus. My focus was being able to get back into the ring to live this dream. And at 42, 3 different spine specialists told me my career's over. And at that time, you'll never call it yoga, And the reason why is first 42 years of my life, I'm a guy who can be caught dead doing yoga. I was that guy. So my wife at the time, Kimberly, who's still one of my best friends, she owns a piece of the business. Her and Paige get along. They're great. They're good friends. It's not like they get along. They really love each other. They're good because that's it. When you're part of my family, and unless you're not being a good person, you pretty much stay with me, whether we're together or not. And the bottom line is that she was like, you do everything. I was the first to ice my body, meaning like your knees hurt, ice them. Your back hurts, ice it. No one does that except for guys who do like the therapist will put ice on it. Everyone should ice their body when you're sore. So that's your first lesson. Bottom line is I would ice my body, deep muscle massage therapy, chiropractic, cupping, acupuncture, applied kinesiology, eating clean, like no GMOs, no gluten, no dairy, organic. Do I eat meat? Yes, it's the best meat. Do I drink? Yes. Tequila, the best tequila, because it's the cleanest of all the liquor you will drink. I'll also drink red wine, little white wine, and gluten-free beer. So I'm still drinking, but once in a while, not all the time, because I'm getting older and I'm wanting to heal my body. You can't heal your body with crap. You're hurting. I challenge everyone, just eat protein and vegetables for 3 weeks. That's it. You will feel so much better. You'll think it's just in your head. But then eat some of the other stuff you're eating, one at a time. Watch what happens in 24 hours. If you still feel great, you're good with that. If you don't eat that. So I just learned out of necessity to heal my body. And I started doing some of her yoga tapes. And the first 3, I was like, no, I am not doing that. But I came across the power yoga tape and a guy named Brian Kest, and who's come a good friend of mine today. But back then, he's like the Hulk Hogan of power yoga. And there was no modifications. So Kimberly could do everything like a warrior. I'm struggling and I can't do what they're doing. So I had to modify, and I had to figure out how to modify those positions. And I kept modifying, and then I would modify a little less and a little less. And in the first 3 weeks, I felt such a significant difference. It was mind-blowing to me. Just 3 weeks. Now I'm still doing rehab for this L4 and L5 blowout, but I've rehabbed both shoulders. I've rehabbed both knees by this time. So I know a lot about rehab. So I'm doing that back rehab every day too. And then one day I mixed the yoga with the rehab. Then I threw in old school calisthenics. I had to do what I call slow burn movement because I couldn't do them any other way. And then I added dynamic resistance, which would be like if I was grabbing cables and pulling 3, 2, 1, engaging and flexing. And what I figured out of that, when you're doing DDPY, it's DDP yoga. The company will always be DDP yoga, but branding is really important. I don't want to be put in the yoga box. DDP yoga, I'm good with. but I branded DDPY today. Why? Because I want people to stop calling it just effing yoga. That's why. Because in yoga, everyone thinks it's that's what they think it is. Is it that? Yes. But it's so many other things. And I've always said there's better than and then there's less than. And unless you're the best, you are less than. Unless you're different. And I've always taken the path less traveled, made my own way. It took me 8 years to be an overnight success in professional wrestling. With DDPY, in the beginning, it's just to heal me. In less than 3 months, I was back in the ring. At 42, they said my career is over. At 43, there's that big gold belt. Okay.
Wow.
I was the
Yeah.
world champion, the oldest ever. And that the world champion in our business is like the Oscar. That's what it's like in our business. So I was a world champion on 3 different occasions. And I wrestled right on up till I was 46. Then I almost broke my neck and I retired, went to LA, started working on my acting career, and kept doing DDPY, but refining it and refining and refining it. And at 49, I decided I'm going to go back and show the people what I got. So I went to a wrestling company called TNA, and I went out there and performed. Out of the 7 shows I did, I was in the main event in 5 of them, and blowing people away with the stamina. I also wrestled 11, I guess it was like 18 months ago. 18 months ago, is it January?
January 2020.
Yeah, so not 21 months ago, I was asked to come back for 1 match. I was almost 64. This is me at the end of the match, flying through the air, up the top rope, down on my guys below. It was the greatest swan song way to go out in my business, because she was like, we always talk about risk and reward. Is the risk worth the reward? I mean, I could have torn my ACL. I could have broke my neck. I mean, anything could have happened out there. But it was worth it to me. First of all, the story in my brain, nothing is going to happen to me. I'm going to blow people away. This is going to be my finest hour to prove everything, all the work that I put into this. This is my finest hour. That's the only voice in my head. And when I walked into that arena, it exploded. When I finally took the tag and came in and cleaned house, I mean, Jake the Snake Roberts texts me, like, what the hell? No ring rust? Because for 3 minutes, I was all over the place and ended up coming off the top rope at the end. It proved everything that I've been saying for the last 19 years, what my program can do for anyone. So after wrestling, I came, like I say, during my acting career, and I have a show coming out on Netflix, a Netflix original. It's my show. I am the lead. It's called Guardians of Justice. It'll either be out towards the end of this year or early next year. We just got, Paige and I are going to France in another 4 weeks, 4 weeks, yeah, 4 weeks, because Guardians of Justice, the Cannes Film Festival is the most famous film festival of all. 5 years ago, they started the Cannes International Series Festival, and our show is featured at their festival. So the time to be an A-list actor, which I'm on the cusp of, with this right here, could change my whole life. And it took 22 years to get here. Like when it came to DDPY, struggling. And there's a movie called Relentless right here. Relentless. It is on Amazon Prime. My company, Comeback Studios, We did our first documentary was The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, which is this right here, my boy, Jake the Snake. Jake again proves what my program's all about, because I took him from the lowest low, coke, crack, pills, booze. He had gotten out of rehab a month before that. I thought he was clean. When I went down to see him, he wasn't again. So I offered him an opportunity. He was blown up to 307 pounds. I was like, Jake, if you lose 20 pounds on your own, I mean, he's living in a hovel. He's waiting to die. He won't kill himself because he's already embarrassed his family enough. He wasn't going to kill himself too. Like, that's the one thing he wasn't going to do, thank God. Jake came into my home. He paid for nothing. I took care of him for 18 months. His personal appearance fee went from no one wanting to book him, and if they did, he might get 250 to 500 bucks. Today's Jake's personal fee to go somewhere and do something is $5,000. He went from the bowels of hell, and you'll see it in The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. After that, watch Relentless. Both of these movies are 100% of your four core. They are, we live our life that way. That's the only way we know how to. Jake went from being a guy that was on, we've had so many guys die in professional wrestling that are under 50 years old and a lot under 40. And they have for a while there was so many guys dying that they put up a dead list, like a Deadpool on the internet, because that's the internet. That's the kind of crazy shit they do. And Jake or Scott Hall were one or two for years. Well, after Jake started to show promise and dropped 40 pounds and was getting booked and feeling good, and people could see Jake is transforming, Scott Hall came in too. And that journey of those two guys together is really, it talks about, it really shows what our business is. And Relentless will show you that it took me 8 years, but not just time. I had invested $548,000 of my own money into, at the point when I freaking finally left LA, I'd sold my house for, what do they call it?
It's a short sale.
Short sale. You know, I mean, I was just trying to put everything that I had left into my program. And I moved to Atlanta. I hooked up with one of my good buddies, Steve Yu. I brought him in as the president of my company. And it took us 4 months. And what had happened was I had helped a disabled veteran named Arthur Borman. Maybe you see that pants over there.
I've watched that YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, right?
But I want to show them just the pictures of
amazing.
And God sent me to this guy and him to me. And Arthur, and I showed this at the thing we did with you guys, but this is not the video. This is the pictures. And Arthur, this is in 2007. My company doesn't take off till 2012, but we had worked together. And this is a disabled veteran who's 5'6", 297 pounds. He had not been able to walk without the knee braces, the back brace, and the canes for over 15 years. This is day one of his journey.
Oh, wow.
10 months later. From that guy to that guy. Now, forget the weight loss. Look at his physiology and look at him here. This is what it's really about. Trying to get him mobile, trying to get him flexible to break up the scar tissue and create mobility, which alleviates pain. This is my favorite picture, though. I'm like, Arthur, why is your son holding on to you? He's like, because I'll fall. Not anymore. From this guy to this guy. Now, he would lose 140 pounds in 10 months. More importantly, he lost the knee braces, back brace, and canes, not just to walk, but run. But on his 1 year anniversary, he's 5'6". He took a picture with his 6'2" son standing on his back. That's what DDPY is. It's not just stretching, it's stretching and strengthening muscles, ligaments, and tendons. And right here, at any time, you see I've been sitting here just hanging out. Anytime I take either one of my feet, take it, push it right into your face, pull it off. I'm not holding on to anything. This is 6'4", 224 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal at 65 years young. That's core strength at a different animal. So I'm just not out there talking about this fitness system that I have. I am preaching what's possible, because when Paige or I say we're going to do something, and that goes for everyone in my company, we do it. We do exactly what we say we're going to do. And the journey, if you watch The Resurrection of Jake the Snake on Amazon Prime and Relentless, then it'll really be clear. And you will see that Jake, I mean, when I started with him on this part of the journey, you have to understand that without Jake the Snake, without Dusty Rhodes, there's no Diamond Dallas Page. Without the Snake Roberts, there's no 3-time world champion. There's no Hall of Famer. You know, I don't have the luxury of being in this position today, but my buddies both helped me. And Jake, it was a passion of mine. We're writing a movie script. We're writing a movie script right now that has to do with mine and Jake's journey. And it's going to be unbelievable, because all the stories, there's so many stories I've never told, that when people see our relationship, and then the student, because Jake was way above me, I was nothing. I was nobody when he took me under his wing. He believed in me when nobody else did. And I always tell people, never underestimate the power someone gives you by believing in you. But more importantly, in that same moment, you have to understand that no one gives you more power than you. No one. And that's really when people start to realize how powerful they can be just by believing in themselves. And this is my second favorite quote, along with, if you say you can, or you say you can't. Repetition is the mother of learning. That I'm going to put it in this. Wait a minute, I forgot my quote. That was another one. Hold on. The repetitions of affirmations lead to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. So I want to break it down. The repetitions of affirmations, that can be really bad. People talk really bad about themselves, and God, I just can't lose this weight, and I'm so worthless. They can start burying themselves. Well, it becomes real, because that's all you do. You got to stop that talk. I wrote a book called Positively Unstoppable: The Art of Owning It. Actually, Steve, you wrote it with me as well. What is it? It's a 6-inch piece of real estate in between your ears. It is the 4 core. It is that story you own, that story you tell yourself. So when I went in the Hall of Fame, I had been on TV in front of 22,000 people, on millions of people watching me on TV in 15 years. And they liked my speech so much that instead of giving me the normal 15 minutes, they gave me 27 minutes. They said, don't go over 30. You're going to kick off the show, 2017. I could have really freaked myself out with that. And it wanted to come in. It wanted to come in and like, what happens if your iPad freezes? What happens if you forget where you are? What happens if you get, the people aren't buying what you're saying? Now, it could have been that. but it wasn't. The only voice, just like the night I went off that top rope, the only voice in my head is, this is going to be my greatest moment in professional wrestling. I am going to blow everyone away. I'm going to make them laugh. I'm going to make them cry. I'm going to inspire them. It's the only voice between my ears. As I'm about to walk out with my 4 daughters on my arm, and the one's, what if I trip out there? You're not going to trip, Rachel. You're fine. You know, like, trust me, you're good. Bottom line is to go out there and just knock it out. It was my best moment ever, but I'd already seen it. And the repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. The more you say something, the more you own it, good or bad. You want it to be good. And once that, repetition of affirmation leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, like you own it right here, things begin to happen. So I read that quote on Brainy Quote, and I'm like, wow, that is so powerful. And then I catch who said it, and I thought, oh my God, I know his affirmation. I know what he said to himself. Like, what's the odds of that, right? But this is what his affirmation was. I am the greatest. I am the greatest of all time. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Muhammad Ali. Like, I knew he'd been saying it since he was a kid. And when that cat left this earth, he left the greatest of all time. He was my hero growing up as a kid. And getting to be able to do signings with him was a big deal to me. This is my first one with him. And he called for us to lock up. I popped when he said that. The next time, you go, get over here, Diamond. And we got that shot. I got a bunch of other ones, but those are my 2 favorites. And I'm a humongous, you know, Muhammad Ali fan, because there's a guy who said it and did it. And that's where I'm ending right there.
Yeah. I was going to ask you both, because you both have been in a position, right? You fell out of the tree, Paige, and I want to come back to that. And Dallas, you and all of these amazing things. I was like, well, how do you get people who are like stuck in the bed, right? You talked about just starting your bed. How do you get them motivated and just do what you say you're going to do? Like, I was going to ask that, but you already answered my question. Just do what you say you're going to do. And that's the simple answer. It's just, I've been taking notes. Thank you.
You have to put the work in. I mean, everybody thinks there's a magic pill or pixie dust. And trust me, if there was something like that to help your body, we would have found it by now. And it's everything he's talked about. I mean, you know, I like the expression, especially when it comes to the food. It's not just the workout, it's a lifestyle. Like, you have to eat healthy. Like, you wouldn't put, you know, ethanol into a Ferrari. So athletes eat the best of the best. And so if you want to try to feel good and be able to perform, you need to stay away from things like that. And for me, the food was a huge thing, because, you know, when we met in 2012, I started the gluten-free journey. He told me about it, and I was like, well, I'll do anything that helps not hurting my back. And it makes such a huge difference. The gluten-free, dairy-free, we don't eat nightshades. Like, so it's tough to give up pizza. Trust me, I love real pizza. There's no gluten-free pizza that tastes as good as like New York. But, you know, there's nothing that I would want to eat that would make me give up that feeling. I have broken 19 bones, my back in 6 places. I feel great. I mean, we don't eat tomatoes. We don't eat nightshades with the potatoes, the eggplants, the peppers. And it honestly does.
I love those.
Yes.
I love those. But nothing, once you get the pain out of your body, there's nothing that tastes better than the pain that I'll go through for like a week or so. Like, no, it doesn't work. Now, if it works for you, then keep eating that shit, you know. But for me, I can't do it, because I want to be able to pick my foot up, pull it over my head when I'm 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105. As long as I'm going, I want to perform at the highest quality and set the best example.
and there's no stopping y'all, right? You're like TV
Right.
show on the look, you're going to, wow. I mean, I feel like I got to take a second. Y'all have given us, we've been doing this for a year now, and I swear no one has made me feel like I want to jump out of this window and start running right now to my life, because hearing that it took you until you were 35, hearing that you were in this tree and fell out of it and were there, you broke your whole left side of your body and your back, and like you had to like pull yourself out of these terrible places, makes my day on Wednesday look like, oh, what kind of chump is, I'm sitting here like super lost in my anxiety about my bad day because I'm not allowing myself to have this bad day. But what you're saying is like, just let the bad day go, just move forward, right? You struggle well, you put it back together and you just keep going. I am so grateful. I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words. So a lot of us, we do have a question that I want to ask really quickly. A lot of us have jobs.
Let me tell everybody who wants to try this workout, just go to DDP Yoga /Cameo. And you got 30 free days on the app. You try it. So I'm giving you a thing where it costs you nothing to try it. Now let me explain the app. Every Monday's Motivational Monday, where I do something that I saw that happened to me, something that inspired me. Every Tuesday is a new workout. Our workouts start in bed. So you can't tell me they're too hard. Then they go to sitting in a chair, then sitting in a chair, and then using a chair, sitting in a chair, using a chair, until you build up the strength where you can just use the chair. And the chair is the greatest tool ever because it helps you get up and down. It helps you build balance. It helps you build strength. You're comfortable using it. And then it goes all the way to psycho extreme shit. And then on Thursday, it's tip of the week, where I might be doing it, Paige might be doing it, one of my instructors, Josh, might be doing it. And then the really cool thing is Fridays. And Fridays, it's Fabulous Friday. We have a site. I want to read this before I even say it. We have a site on Facebook. It's not my site. This was what some of our instructors started getting on so they could talk to each other. And every single one of my instructors, every single one is a transformation in some way or another, whether it's physically, weight-wise, emotionally, some way. Let me see, what is it? Power habit. Some way of getting through and getting over a serious adversity. This group now is over 67,000 people. There is no judgment. When you read what people write, it will boggle your mind. I can't believe they put those pictures up. Oh my God, I can't believe they said that. Wait a minute, that's me. Like, you won't believe it. Over 67,000 people. And this is what I learned from a book that I was listening to called The Power of Habit. And it says, if you want change, first, people must believe that change is feasible. The same process that makes AA so effective. The power of a group teaches individuals how to believe. Change happens when people come together to help one another change. Belief is easier when it occurs in the community. That's a quote right out of the book. And I was so moved by it. I'm like, I'm going to say that over and over and over into people so they get it. And when you go to DDP Yoga, one word, like I tell people, don't listen to a word I say about DDPY or what Paige said or Josh or Lexi or whoever. Don't listen to a word they said. Just go on Facebook, search DDPY, one word, read what people say. On Friday, I take anywhere from 1 to 4 stories and I read exactly what they said, what their pictures were, what their video was. I play it exactly because there's so many people, it could be up there and 2 hours later, it could be gone. Mm-hmm. So I just try to grab magic. And now I'm going to tell you what was up there on Fabulous Friday this week. And I'm going to give you my opinion of it. And like everything we have in there, from tracking to our motivational cooking shows. I'm not going to tell you what to eat. I'm going to show you what we're eating tonight. And it might be me and Paige cooking, me might be my daughter Brittany, it might be Brittany by herself, because she keeps coming up with, she's become the only gluten-free, dairy-free, an unbelievable chef ever. And she's constantly coming up with, she just cooked something the other day. I'm like, oh my God, that's a new cooking show. Because, right?
Yeah, we eat great food. There's so many, once you understand and know where to find the gluten-free stuff, and there's so much more now than there were 9 years ago.
God, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
And it just doesn't make you feel as bloated,
Yeah.
that bloated feeling you get. Trust me, it'll be gone. If you never work out and you just eat gluten-free and don't eat, overeat carbs, you're gonna feel way better, but you're also gonna lose some weight too. That's a big thing.
So what's the question?
Yeah, whatever the question was.
We can talk forever. We should have made this like 3 hours long. Take all your time. So we have two main questions. Excuse me, choked. You got me choked up. Some of our employees actually use DDPY and they say it's amazing. So I just want y'all to know they're trying to get.
Sure, you join the Facebook community group.
Yeah, that's really important. Join that Facebook community group. The group's amazing.
And I put the DDPY, DDPyoga.com cameo in the chat.
Sure.
So if
And
you're watching,
it'll pop up like 30 days free. Just
Right.
going, and I don't put that out there for anybody but Cameo. It's people I'm working with that I really appreciate. And, what you guys, when I came to do the speaking thing, when Paige and I came for that, I felt such warmth of everybody who was there.
At EPM, yeah.
Yeah, and I was so
Got some good positive vibes.
unbelievable that Eddie said, "Get out there and knock him dead." He goes, "Say whatever the fuck you want," and I was like, "Okay."
that was a moment for me getting to meet y'all and sit there because I have two younger brothers, and of course we role played as you a lot, so that was a a full moment for me. And your wine, you brought your own wine, and I was like running around trying to find you a wine glass. It was such a fun night. That was one of my favorite moments at EPM. So thank y'all so much for letting me be there with you and meeting me and being so wonderful yourself. But these two questions and then we'll wrap up. So Adair, who she said, a lot of us have jobs where we sit at our desk for most of the day. Can you give us any stretches or movements that we can do in our chair just easily that would, help us out?
When you go to the app, there's workouts in the chair. And everything I'm going to teach you in the chair, like standing up, I'm going to teach you in the chair, like it's one move at a time. And one of them is just like planting your feet, okay? And you're sitting at your chair, and if you do this with me right here. All I want you to do is open up your fingers wide. Okay, you do what it's do. Open your fingers wide, all right? And I want you to plant your toes and just flex your feet right into your mat. And I just want you to inhale, create your own resistance.
Squeeze
reach out
everything.
to touch. Yeah, squeeze everything. But reach long, reach high. Exhale, now open your arms wide. And I want you to come right down. And I want you to make an upside down diamond cutter, but straighten your arms, push your thumb and index fingers against each other, tight, push them tight. Now inhale, just take it back, lean to the top of your chair, bring your arms out to a T, clench your fist, hulk it up, baby, yeah, hulk it up. Come on, hulk it up. Inhale, take shoulders back, chest out, at ease. Like that's right there for your spine. And there's all sorts of twists like this, turning, opening up your body. I get you doing all this stuff, engaging your legs and really flexing. And again, if you really, the way the app is set up, if you're wearing a Bluetooth heart monitor, and the most inexpensive, best ones were on my site. And I make it like that so they're not competing with anything. If I just set you there, I know it's going to be the best deal. And you put the heart monitor underneath your shirt. It goes right up here on your skin, right at the top, bottom of your sternum. And then it'll come right up on your phone. And your phone, if you have an iPhone and you have an Apple TV or just one of those little boxes, Apple TV, goes right from your phone to the TV.
Screen mirroring.
Screen mirroring. If you have a Droid, then Chromecast will help you take it right from your phone to the TV. Now, if you're wearing a heart monitor, up on the screen is going to come your number, whether it's 72 beats a minute or 105 or 150, whatever it is. At the end of the workout, it's going to show you where you weren't in your fat burning zone, how long you were in your fat burning zone, how long you were in your anaerobic zone, which is like the red zone. At the end, it'll tell you how many calories you burn. And then it's like a video game. As a bing, 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 then I come out going, great job. You know, so we make it fun.
That felt good, by the way. I was just like, oh, feeling amazing. So this is the end of our hour. I don't want to keep you much longer, but thank you both so much. Any last words you want to say? For all of us watching still.
Yeah, give it a try, because trust me, with all the stuff I've done, I did a desk job. I didn't grow up climbing and things. And I'm telling you, yoga has saved my life. It has helped me prepare my body to do things. And you are so much stronger than you realize. And, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, and the same with him. I mean, starting his second career in his 30s and then creating DDPY in his 40s. I mean, it's amazing.
And now
nothing happens right away. The biggest thing is discipline. Discipline is the truest form of self-love. And I want to leave with that, because I don't have this quote down yet, and I'll just read them. I write everything down. I tell everybody, don't just think it, ink it. And this is, where is that damn quote? Discipline. Is it DIS or DIC? Yeah, that's what I thought. CI. Okay, boom. Here, no. Okay. Discipline is the truest form of safe love. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, man.
That's okay.
Either way, what it really comes down to, I don't have the exact quote down, but what it does is mean giving up like the instant gratification for what's going to give you the self-worth. It's going to give you a feeling of not just changing your life, but actually owning your life. And that's what my program's all about. And when people say to me, well, how much do I have to do it? I say, you don't have to do it at all. No, but I want to know, but if I want to feel better, well, I said, if you do it 3 days a week, 20 minutes a day, it'll change your life. If you can build the 40 minutes a day, 4 days a week, you will start to own your life. And that's really what people want to do. You don't want to be told what you can or can't do. Hell, everybody's telling us today what we can and can't do. I want to be my own man. I want to live by my own drummer. And I do. And I do what I want to do. And I make sure that my body, that I honor my body by disciplining myself. If you're gonna feel weak, have a donut or whatever. For me, it's gluten-free donuts, so it's not like I don't eat that stuff once in a while. But when I do, I make sure I'm gonna discipline myself and not go crazy. So just focus on the positive. And remember that repetitions are the mother of learning. And just keep doing something until you own it.
That is Empower Hour Live. This is the best one I think we've ever had. Thank y'all so much for being on today. This is amazing. We will see you guys soon. Thank you again. You are now one of our influencers here at EPM. So we will be taking that, and make sure you get that Cameo offer. That is an amazing deal. This is going to change your life. So thank y'all so much for being here today. Enjoy your Friday and your weekend. Thank you. Y'all see ya.